Hey my friends, how are you today? I am so glad that you found me here in my little corner of the internet that I like to call Beyond Reasonable Doubt, where we discuss all things true crime, culty, and a little bit creepy. My name is Misty Sims, and if you are a returning subscriber, you know I already love you more than cupcakes with sprinkles, and I'm so happy that you're coming back to hang out with me. And if you're brand new here, I do hope you'll click that subscribe button and hang out with me long term so that we can discuss more true crime all the time. So how are you guys? How was your weekend? Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. Got out, got into some sunshine. If you're having it here, it's cooled off here in Tennessee to like a balmy 94 instead of like 98. So I started putting out Halloween decorations like already. Really getting ready for Halloween and some fun times, but it's all hitting the stores now. So even though it is completely sweaty and gross outside still I'm getting it out. I mean, if I'm going to buy it, I'm not going to put it up just to put it up for a couple weeks. So kind of got into the season here a little bit with that because you know me, I like things that are creepy. So as you're going to see more and more of it, I'm going to probably change this out back here and just maybe get a whole new background going on for everybody. But so what did you guys get into? Let me know down below if you did anything fun. We did a little bit of work. Still working on the food bus. Should be up and rolling soon. So very excited about that. And a little bit of things with the restaurant that we're hoping to open. So just productive but busy. So and trying to avoid the rain. It rained here pretty much all weekend. Just enough to make it where it was even hotter and grosser. So I don't know. I'll be complaining when it cools off, so who knows. But one thing that is happening around here is that if you are a college football fan, you know that we're getting super close to kickoff weekend for college football. And the reason I bring that up is because our case today touches on a college football player. It's been really big in the media lately. I'm sure if you have flipped on any mainstream news, you've seen it. I've seen a couple creators cover this as well. But we're going to get in depth on the Lindsay Shiver case today. So before we do that, I do want to remind you that this video is for entertainment purposes only. I am simply coming to you and telling you all the information that I have found on the internet and putting it into one place as a lady with a camera, a microphone, and entirely too much to say. So please remember to be kind in the comments. I do want to say this. I really appreciate you guys in the comments. You are super kind and you are very constructive and you're helping me make this channel better. So please continue to throw those out there. I absolutely love it. And if you're new here, just know that we do try to be sensitive in the comments to anybody that might be reading this that could be related to the case, could be a victim. We never know who might be seeing this, so always choose kindness, not just here but in your everyday life. So let's get right into this case. Lindsay Shiver is a 36-year-old mother of three from Georgia, originally from Alabama, who stands accused of a murder for hire plot against her husband, 38-year-old Robert Shiver. So this case has just really kind of thrown me for a loop. I mean, you're just sitting back and you're reading the news and then you hear about this crazy murder for hire plot. So I wanted to talk this one through to you guys. I'm almost laughing, and I don't mean to laugh. It's just it's outlandish. It sounds like when I'm telling you this, I think you're gonna think that I'm making it up, that it's like a Lifetime movie or a major Hollywood production type of movie, but it's not. It's absolutely insane, and it sounds like a soap opera, and we're here for it. So let's get on in and let's talk about this. Who is Lindsay Shiver, and how did we get here? From someone that we didn't really know who she was to all of a sudden she's a media sensation for all the wrong reasons, right? So, Lindsay is an absolutely stunningly beautiful girl. She is a former beauty pageant winner. I believe she won in 2005. It was a Miss the Houston County pageant, and she came in second runner-up at a peanut festival down in Alabama. And people are probably laughing. They're like, the peanut festival, whatever. But if you're from the South, like, we love our festivals. And if you're the queen of the what was that song? The Watermelon Crawl. If you are the queen, they're making songs about you. It's a big deal. And she is absolutely gorgeous. She grew up in Alabama, and she found herself in college at Auburn University. And while she was at Auburn, she was really into fitness, and she was a cheerleader on the Auburn Tigers cheerleading team. And you also know, if you're from the South, college football is huge, and being a cheerleader, for your school is, quite a big deal. It requires a lot of dedication, a lot of work. So she found herself in several fitness classes, and this is where she would go on to meet Robert Shiver. Robert, who would later become her husband, was a deep snapper on the Auburn Tigers football team. So these two, they meet in college, kind of a chance meeting, and it's a storybook, right? You got the cheerleader, you got the football player, and all things just come together, and they fall in love with each other. And, Robert goes on to try to pursue a football career, but it doesn't really work out. He goes on to the NFL, I believe in Atlanta, and he's cut, I think, in 2009 before the season even begins. So his football career was short-lived, but he did meet Lindsay as a product of this, and these two would, go on to get married after college. And they married in the spring of 2010, and it was just like a fairy tale come to life. Robert, he's from a pretty affluent family. His father was the CEO of Flowers Foods, and if you don't know that, that's a major bakery chain. It's in the $1 billion worth of worth now, and he served as that CEO for over 4 decades, so quite some time before he retired in 2019. So, Robert is not coming to the table, with nothing. He's coming fairly, well-to-do himself. And then after the football career failed, he went on to pursue a very successful career in insurance, and he is currently serving, according to the company's website, as a vice president for a senior life insurance company that's based in Thomasville, Georgia. And Thomasville, Georgia is where the couple would go to settle and begin a family. They've had 3 young sons, and they live in a modest house, right? It's 8,000 square feet, and it's a $2.5 million mansion. So these two are living the life, right? They've got a private jet. They're going out on the yachts. They're members of like affluent clubs. I mean, just like y'all. I when I say they're high flying, like I can't even imagine. These aren't even things that I can say that I'm going to pay for an excursion on a vacation for a yacht. We don't live that life. So these two are raising their young family, and they are doing it in the lap of luxury. So, I mean, it's incredible, right? It's Instagram worthy. And Lindsay made sure that it was Instagram worthy because she posted quite frequently. Her Instagram account is private now. I don't blame her for that, but it is private now. But prior to that, you would see a family that most would envy, right? This just beautiful family. Like I said, she's beautiful. Robert is just well put together. They got these 3 beautiful kids, and they're always in front of just some picturesque backdrop, be it that they're out on the water, on a boat, or they're at Auburn University taking their kids back to games, showing them where they met and where they, kind of grew up together a little bit, because we all know we grow up in college, right? That's where you kind of go on to find yourself. So they're at games, and it just came across that they had a beautiful marriage, a beautiful family, a beautiful life, a beautiful bank account, all these things. All the way up through like 2020, when she's sharing a picture, and it's a super cute picture. It's of their wedding. She's walking with him. They're arm in arm. She's shaking an Auburn shaker. And she shares this in 2020 on their 10-year anniversary, wishing him, a happy anniversary. And I'm going to quote her in what she says in this wedding photo. And it's the key to a perfect marriage is having two imperfect people who refuse to give up on each other. So thankful for that fitness class 13 years ago that brought us together and all of the love, laughter, and life we have created ever since. I love you, babe. I'm chuckling a little bit because that whole live, laugh, love thing, I swear, I feel like that's like a bad omen now. It's like putting your relationship on a reality TV show. It's going to fail. And now she's tagged it. And somewhere between that picture posting to 2020 and July of this year, like, y'all, the wheels done fell off. It done fell off. I was going to say it fell off the love boat, but I guess a boat wouldn't have wheels. But it don't matter. It's off the rails, right? Because in July of this year, so just a few weeks ago, there's all these events that are going on in the Bahamas. So bear with me because you're like, what the heck's the Bahamas got to do with this couple that's in Thomasville, Georgia that met in Auburn, Alabama? Like, what's happening? We'll get there. So in the Bahamas, there's this bar, and it's called Grabber's Bar. And just stay with me on that one because you're going to laugh even harder because that name got me to begin with. It's going to get you again later. But it's this cute little bar down there that I guess is waterfront, and a lot of tourists go there. And it's kind of close to an affluent neighborhood where some folks from America own some homes and some condos and things like that. Anyway, this bar has been broken into. And the perpetrator, the thief that broke in, they cut the power lines and then they messed with the generators outside, and by doing these things it messed up the security cameras inside, and they weren't able to film because they didn't have power to them, so that thief was able to go all through the safe and take what they wanted, right? Well, based on what I'm telling you, it sounds like that person, that individual, according to the police, could have possibly been an insider because they had the insight to know how the security cameras were running. There was a safe in there. I don't want the cameras pointed on me while I'm going through the safe, so let's mess with all these things that will prevent that. So there is this young man that works at the bar. He's a bar staffer named Terrance Bethel. Terrance Bethel. So Terrance is obviously on the police's radar because he's a staff member. If we think it's an inside job, going to look at all the staff members, right? That's what we're going to do. So they go to Terrance and they're like, hey, we need to, kind of corroborate everything that went on that night. Can we see your phone? Can we have your phone? Hands him the phone, not worried about it, not a big deal. So, police, they do what police do and they start going through the phone. And what I guess people don't think about is they're going to go through everything on your phone. And that means anything that you've been doing, they can see, and it doesn't have to necessarily be related to this case, right? Or this break-in or whatever we're doing. So they get to looking at this phone and they're like, you are talking about in text messages about murdering Robert Shiver. I'm sorry, sir. What? So, blows the roof off of the place. And then it's like, all right, well, now, wait, let's scratch our head a little bit. What the heck does a guy working at a bar in the Bahamas have to do with a former Auburn football player? Like, why is he trying to kill this guy? Like, I mean, no offense, Robert, but it's not like you were even, it's not like you're Tom Brady. Like, I mean, what's he going to kill you for? I mean, yeah, you got a lot of money, but, like, what's going on? So I'm going to need y'all to grab a drink. Girl, grab a drink, grab a snack, because it's about to get knots landing up in here, so get ready. All right, so y'all remember that I was talking about that Robert and Lindsay had all these things, right? They got the yacht, they got a private jet, they got this big old house. They also have a vacation home in the Bahamas. All right, so they're going there, and they're doing their thing. Well, Lindsay, at some point, makes her little way over to Grabbers. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you got to go over to YouTube just so you can see my face right now. So she goes on over to Grabbers, and I guess her plan was to oh God, I'm just like the bad mom joke of the year. She's gonna grab her like a Bahama mama or something. She's on vacation. She's going in vacation mode. Well, instead, Lindsay grabs a little bit of Terrance. And they start having an affair. So she meets this guy, like, you hear all the jokes about the rich ladies and the pool boys, cabana boys, and all that stuff. Well, this time it's a bar back, bar manager, bar whatever Terrance is. I've seen him called like 1,000,005 things. Either way, he works in this bar that she's frequenting, and now she's decided she would like to frequent him a little more in a little different way. So they start this affair. And it has come to light now that Robert found out about the affair. And when he did, he was, he like most husbands, he's not down with this, and he's pissed off, right? And he's like, we're not doing it. And he files for a divorce back in April of 2023. Well, he's hot, right? He's heated over this. So not only has he filed for divorce, citing the affair, the adulterous activity, but he also now says that Lindsay, who graduated from Auburn University with him, so he knows that she's got a marketing degree that she, pursued and achieved, that she is able-bodied and she can get her own job, and he ain't footing the bill for her and Terrance to be down there gallivanting in the Bahamas. So he doesn't want to pay her alimony. He wants the house. He wants everything in the house. He wants the car that he drives, and he also wants primary physical custody of the kids. Now, he was willing to share joint legal custody with her, but primary physical custody he wants, right? So he's like, get your own, you managed to get you a man, get you a job, get you a place to go, get you stuff to go in a place to go, because I don't know what you're doing, but you ain't staying here, okay? And you ain't using the jet, you ain't doing nothing, so. All right, so he's upset, and then he takes it one more step further, and this, I guess, kind of nails in the coffin, right? He asked for a restraining order against her to keep her from harassing him. So not only is he, saying he ain't doing it no more, she ain't gonna complain about it either. Like, she can go complain on the internet or something, but she ain't gonna be up in his face and his mess talking nothing, right? Well, I guess this, it sits real well with Lindsay, as you can imagine. I mean, I'm just thinking about a good old Southern girl here, and she just had the rug yanked. She just got caught, literally with her britches down, and now she's got the rug yanked out from under her, and that rug was like a $2.5 million rug, right? So she is hot too. So she comes back and she alleges that they were separated, and Robert legally condoned the affair. And I don't know how you do that. I have no idea what that means. That's just what she said. I'm quoting that. Basically, how I took it was that they were legally separated so they could do whatever or whoever they felt like it. Okay, so that's, she's saying that. And then she's saying too that, she has raised these 3 boys since birth, and been there's pretty much their, I don't want to say their sole caregiver, because that's not what I mean, but primary, because she's home, right? She's a stay-at-home mom. She's raised them. So she's been out of the workforce for basically their entire marriage and raising children. So now it would be extremely hard on her to go out and pursue work that would, I guess, keep them at the lifestyle that these boys have been used to. And that's, millions of dollars aside, that's probably true. It is quite hard sometimes to go back into the workforce if you've taken, quite a bit of time off to be a mom or a parent or whatever the reason. It doesn't matter if you've gone an extended amount of time. It is hard to jump back in. So she may have never even used that marketing degree, and now she's kind of at square one, right? So I do understand that perspective of hers. But anyway, so she's like, I can't work, I need some money. And then she claims that she does not physically feel safe any longer around Robert because he has committed DV in the past. So he has been abusive to her, and he has been abusive to her in front of the children. So she is making some pretty bold claims here. So she is alleging this, and I'm going to say alleging because we don't know that any of this is true about Robert or their situation or anything in between. And then she goes further to say that Robert is punishing her because he's cut her off completely financially, and that is inclusive of the money that it would take to run the household, because at this point, as I read it, they're still cohabitating in the house, I guess because they're trying to raise the children outside of the time that she's in the Bahamas. They share this residence, things like that. So she's upset that he's not giving her any money. And then she claims that he's also keeping the children from her. Like, he's taking them out, then he won't communicate with her and tell her where they are and not bringing them back. And she's even gotten law enforcement involved at one point in time. And I'm not going to defend Lindsay through this because I don't know if she's innocent or guilty. I'll give you more of my opinion as we go. But I will say that, unless the children are in some type of harm, it's not cool for one parent to keep them from the other. That's just something the children shouldn't be put in the middle like that. So if Robert was doing that, again, it's alleged. We don't know because it sounds like there's a lot going on here. But if that were happening, keep the children's best interest at heart and make sure both parents are able to parent even when there's a situation that occurs that ends a marriage, right? I mean, I understand everybody's mad in this situation, right? Like, if she got caught, she's mad. If he caught her, he's mad. Like, I get it, but let's keep the kids, keep their best interest at heart, and don't be involving them, especially when when you call the police and stuff like that. Like, that's gonna get them feeling some kind of way, right? So anyways, so they're scheduled to go give their dispositions in July of this year, some statements on what's going on, and kind of keep fighting this out in court because it's getting nasty. They're mudslinging, they're carrying on, all kinds of ways. Well, that's not going to happen right now. That's got to get pushed off because Lindsay has now been arrested in connection with those texts that I was telling you about that the police uncovered on Terrance's phone about killing Robert. So what's going on, Lindsay? What was going on? So, told you guys about the affair. So now we know, that Robert caught Lindsay having this affair with Terrance. We've confirmed it was him, all the things. Then there's a third guy involved. And this third guy's name is Farron Newbold. And Farron was a friend of Terrance's from childhood. And apparently they're all communicating, collaborating, and conspiring on this through WhatsApp on the phone about how to take out Robert. Like, he's a problem. We got a solution for problems. We're just going to get rid of him. And, we know that things can get blown out of proportion, right, when people are talking and communicating. And who knows what happened, but the police, when they read these text messages, they were hard over that these three were conspiring to murder this man. So they arrest them. They pull them all in, and they arrest them. And since then, Terrance and Farron bonded out pretty quickly on $20,000 bond and ankle monitors. And Terrance has broken his silence and said, I love Lindsay. We love each other. I respect her way too much as a mother and her children to conspire or to end their father's life. I wouldn't do that, And then he also says what I was saying about it getting blown out of proportion, that this is all out of control, that they don't have anything to hide, and the police must not have anything on them because they have his phone, and they're out now, which, I mean, you're still facing charges, buddy, so I don't know what that means. But he's saying that they were venting. She was venting, and then it was taken totally out of context. Farron he's kind of stayed tight-lipped. From what I've read about him, he is a politician's son and an aspiring rapper. I mean, I feel like everybody is like an aspiring rapper or aspiring YouTuber or something now. Like, hey, me, I'm one. Not rapper. You don't want to hear that. Aspiring YouTuber. But he's kind of laying low, I think, as far as speaking out. Probably if he is the son of a politician, that would probably not be something that his family member would, encourage. But he has been captured in front of a new house and driving this kind of nice looking SUV that's Mercedes and things like that. So I think they're trying to build the illusion in the media that, he may have received some money or things like that. But I don't know, if his family member is a politician, I don't know that I would go as far as saying that I thought he'd received money already. But it is alleged that Lindsay did send him a picture of Robert, and with the picture in the WhatsApp text message, it just says, kill him. So I don't know how that's venting, but that's what we're being told now by Terrance. So we'll go with it, right? So Lindsay spends a little extra time in jail compared to these other ones. She's been there about 2 full weeks, and she is in the Fox Hill prison in Nassau. And from what I've read, this is not like a place you want to find yourself. You know, we all hear the jokes about the celebrity prisons and all that kind of stuff, and you know that they got like yoga and doing all these things. This ain't it. It's like the opposite of it from what I've read. Never been there. Hope I never am, but that's what I've read. She was able to finally bond out on a $100,000 cash bond, and she has to wear an ankle monitor. She cannot leave the Bahamas. She actually has to stay in her condo that she's leasing in the Bahamas from 8 p.m. at night to 5 a.m. in the morning, and then check in with local authorities 3 times per week per her court order, and until she reappears for a court appearance in October. So, you know, she's on a pretty tight leash. They don't want her to get out and, you know, plot to kill anybody, I guess. But she has said to the media, she hasn't said a lot. She said that she's not allowed to say a lot, but that this has been absolutely awful. And the media asked her when she was walking to her vehicle, or to a vehicle from the police station, they did ask her, has this been overblown? And she nodded yes. So that's what we're going with. I don't know. It has been alleged that Robert is responsible for her release. I read that he posted bond, and then I read a conflicting story to that saying that he had just made some phone calls. I guess his family's fairly affluent. They own several properties in the area. I think his parents own one. He owns one, things like that. So he may have some influence there. I don't know. But that he made some calls and did get the agreement that she could be released on this cash bond with the monitoring and such, even though there is a restraining order in place where she cannot contact him and she cannot be within 100 feet of him. But it does sound like Robert may have had some influence on her being released in some form. I get that. You know, it's the mother of his kids, so he probably doesn't want to have them know their mother is in prison in a foreign country. You know, eventually they're going to find out what all this is going on and things like that. But while they're still very young, and by the pictures, one looks to be extremely young, I'm certain he probably wants them to have some type of contact with her. But I'm not going to say that. I've seen some creators that they've given their names out and ages and things like that. I'm not going to do that. I mean, you can Google that if you want, if you're just so inclined. But these kids are innocent. It sounds like they've been through a lot. So we're just going to gloss over that part. But yeah, I mean, so this is the Lindsay Shiver case, guys. Like, what do you guys think? Like, how have you heard about this? Have you read into it at all? I've even read things that say that Robert's parents, just saying that they had some influence in the area, that they're responsible for blowing the roof off the place with this stuff. Some folks have even alleged that they think that because of, Robert finding out about this affair and all these type of things, that I guess, maybe they set her up. And it does sound, it does sound crazy. Like, she's this itty bitty, little petite thing. She was former cheerleader, beauty pageant queen, all these things. And then now all of a sudden she's out here and she's conspiring to commit murder. It does sound wild to me. It sounds crazy. But we're on a true crime channel talking true crime on YouTube. And if you've talked any true crime and you've been around for any amount of time, that this ain't the wildest one we've ever talked about. It ain't the wildest one we're going to talk about. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like using WhatsApp on your phone, people think that that's some kind of little private portal or something that you're safe in. Maybe they did, and they talked it there. Obviously, we've all said things we don't mean. Venting, who hasn't made that statement? Gosh, if so-and-so does that again, I'm just going to kill him. Something like that. And you don't mean it. That's totally out of context. But if you're sending pictures, you're sending photos, and you're captioning it basically with that verbiage, it sounds like they were saying that they were hiring this guy. So I have to believe there were text messages that may have involved saying, I will pay you, I will do this, I will do that. So if that's the case, that's a lot harder to get out of and explain away. So I don't know. I mean, you know, she has money, obviously has access to funds that she could pay for somebody. She has been caught in an affair. She has had, you know, I didn't read into her background how affluent she was prior to coming into this marriage. So just for, you know, giggles, we're going to say that, you know, obviously he was the more affluent one and brought the most of the monetary, you know, stake to the game. If that's the case, you know, now she's had all that taken away from her, stands the chance of losing her kids. You know, that makes people do crazy things, you know, makes you do things you wouldn't normally do. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's just wild to me. Like, you know, here's this former beauty queen cheerleader. She done took up with some dude at a bar in the Bahamas. Like, done met him, done gonna run off with him, and then they gonna kill her husband. Like, it just sounds wild. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. That one's crazy. So we have no idea how this is going to go out, but needless to say, you know that I will be all up in the trial in October. We'll be talking about it. We're going to hear what's going on. Until then, she's stuck there. She can't leave. She can't do anything. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I do hope that you guys will hit that subscribe button, like this video, please share it, you know, tell your friends, tell your family if they're into true crime to come over here and hang out with me. We're going to be posting more and more content, and the more subscribers we get, the more likes we get, the more views we get, obviously the more that we can put out, and I would love to do this full time for you guys, so please, please, please take a free way to support the channel and like and subscribe, and until then, I want you guys to stay safe out there. Stay sweet, my cupcakes, and I will see you next time. Bye!